Hey guys, we've got an awesome discussion this morning. I'm sitting here with Ekaterina Stepanova, and she's actually a business partner of mine in an education company, and she's a rock star mobile home park investor. She's got a pretty large portfolio of mobile home parks, which we'll dive into here shortly. But I wanted to get together with E because we've been doing some traveling these last few days. We're doing some business here in Charleston, and thought it'd be a great opportunity for us to sit down and have a conversation so you guys can get to know her as well. So thanks for doing this, E. I know it's early. I know we've had a long weekend, but glad we were able to do it.
Yes, me too, Mario. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about your story. You've got a pretty interesting story. You weren't born here in the United States. Can you maybe just tell us a little bit about how you got into the United States as well as how you got into mobile home park investing?
So I traveled to Moscow, New York, one-way ticket 15 years ago. Came for the career of my former husband, who was an opera singer, and it was a true adventure. Just we picked up and left, and that was when the story began, and just completely different life. And since then, I've been living in New York.
New York City.
New York City.
In the big city.
Exactly. And started investing in real estate, first single-family residences, rent to own, I think about maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And quickly learned that single-family residences is not the way to go.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the economy of scale, and if you have one eviction, it's 100% vacancy.
100 to 0.
Exactly. So that is why I learned my lesson really quickly when I had my first rental, and I had 2 evictions just in the course of the first 6 months.
Jeez.
Yes.
Not easy to evict in New York either if you had them in New York.
No, and that was actually out of state.
Yeah.
So I was hanging out on bigger pockets for a little while because I was looking for my entryway.
Yeah.
And I determined that maybe turnkey out-of-state investment, this is something that I want to pursue. So this is how I got started. So my first rental was in Memphis.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty far from New York. If you got a problem, that's a long flight to get. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's how I got started.
What made you say, I'm going to buy these mobile home parks, these trailer parks? What got you to transition?
Well, sure. Mario, I started looking into different niches of commercial real estate, and I knew that I wanted to have rental income, and residential was something that was closer to me and easier for me to understand.
Sure.
So I looked into multifamily first, and as you know, the cap rates and the competition is fierce.
Yeah.
And I was indeed trying to get into it for maybe 8 months or so. Couldn't really find a way. And then in the meantime, I was listening to podcasts, and I heard of this concept. And then people are doing land leases, and it's working out for them really well. So I started learning, and then took a course.
Yeah.
Kevin Bob
Studied
and
up,
Charles D. Arts Academy, when back it was live. It was, I think, the first, I was the first who signed up.
Yeah.
So I was really eager to find out what it's all about. So I took that course and started taking action, started looking for parks, and getting going.
So you studied up, you took some education, you wanted to learn how to do it the right way.
Absolutely.
And then after that, when did you buy your first park then? So you took a course, you started looking for deals. How long was it before you found that first deal that you were going to buy?
Well, I found the first deal. Had a couple under contract before we actually purchased the first deal.
Yeah, because not every deal works out,
No.
right? Sometimes you look at something and the deal falls through because it just doesn't check all the boxes, or you find something you didn't know about.
Absolutely. And when first you get started, it's quite common that you would put a deal under contract and you wouldn't necessarily close it, because when you're starting to learn the business, you just don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And then as you getting your education, really real life education through due diligence, you're finding out so many things that can break your deal, and you wish you knew them 2 months before.
Sure. Oh yeah.
And you just don't.
The real education is when you're looking at real deals on the table.
Real deal. You walk in it. You calling vendors. You asking questions. This is where you really learning what the mobile home parks are all about.
Sure.
So yeah, I had a couple of deals under contract which fell through for different due diligence reasons, and then closed on the actual first park that we purchased. I think it was almost 2 years after I started learning about mobile home parks and studying on it.
So you studied up, you started looking at deals, you killed a couple bad deals, and then your first deal that you bought was about roughly about 2 years afterwards. Which, but I always tell people, avoiding a bad deal is better than doing a good deal.
Exactly.
You do not want to take down a deal that you don't want to own for a long time.
Absolutely.
So you're smart to be cautious and conservative on your underwriting and making sure that everything checks those boxes. Otherwise, you could really get hurt. And if you blow it on your first deal, it could wipe you out.
Absolutely.
When you got a pretty good sized portfolio and you make a small mistake, you can absorb it. But first deal, bad deal could bankrupt somebody.
Absolutely. And you just really want to be cautious and just take it easy.
Yeah.
Take your lessons, learn them, and move slowly.
So you took down that first deal, and what was it like after you got that first deal done? I mean, did it just explode after that? Did you start to get some momentum? What happened after that? And one other question, while you explain that, did you buy this by yourself, or did you have partners that first deal?
Mm-hmm. Well, absolutely. So Mario, you know that I absolutely promote partnerships.
You do,
especially for busy professionals such as myself until recently.
Sure.
Most of the folks have W-2, so how do you take down the deal, especially larger deals, and continue growing your business if you one woman or one man show? It's extremely hard, and the chances that you miss something are extremely high.
Yeah, because you're focused over here, not on the property all the time.
Yeah, and as you know, partnerships, the beauty of them is that you have people with different skill sets that come together, and if one person is focusing on on-site due diligence, another one is focusing on financing, and the third person is gathering all the information for due diligence and running through numbers. I mean, this is perfect setup, and will just helps you to vet the deal and make sure it's truly a really good one that will make a change in your life. This is the type of deals you want. I always say it's not how many units you own, it's really how profitable they are, how profitable you make them. So what is the potential of it?
Yeah, I mean, if you can have a lot of units, but if they don't produce income, you've just got a lot of work. You don't have any profit.
That is exactly right.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sorry, to answer your question, it didn't skyrocket from there, so we took it step by step. So we were just continually vetting the deals, and I think the following year we purchased maybe 2 deals.
Yeah.
And then we really gained momentum, and the following year after that we closed on 600 units.
Jeez.
So,
That's a lot of units to take down in 1 year.
Yes. So again, partnerships.
Right.
Partnerships.
You had a good team of people.
Absolutely, the key to everything. And we were just, the philosophy, I guess, that we have in the partnership is we will search and wait for the really good deal to come. We will wait. And
force it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all in agreement here. No bad deals are going to make you wealthier. Yeah. So just wait for it.
So okay, got it. So you buy your first deal, then you start to get some momentum. You got your team in place. Everybody knows their roles, and all of a sudden you start to, year 2, 3, you start to get some serious exponential growth. So today, how many lots are you sitting on, or how many have you acquired so far? So
bought and disposed of our initial park. That was always the plan. So close to 900 units.
Jeez, that's awesome. So, and you've been doing it for what? How many years?
Like 4.
4 years.
Just a little over.
Came from another country. Did not have real estate background other than buying a few single-family homes. Pivoted. Boom. Took off. So that's cool. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, why not? It's completely free. You get to sit in on conversations with successful investors like Ekaterina and others, and you get to learn about mobile home parks every single week when we put out new content. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button and click the like button while you're at it so that YouTube knows that you like this type of content. What's kind of maybe something that a newer mobile home park investor, just maybe buying their first park, or maybe they got their first deal under their belt, but they're looking to scale, what's kind of that one thing that you'd say people aren't paying attention to or don't know about? Maybe they're not learning it on YouTube, they're not learning it from other park investors that they should probably be aware of as a big challenge that they should expect buying parks or operating them.
Well, there are multiple challenges, and
Oh, yeah.
you will not know until you know. That is why I will just say, be patient and take your time with it.
Yeah.
We all here to get to the 1,000 units, get to some vanity numbers. These are all just numbers. You buy the park, you own it.
Sure.
This is it. This is your responsibility. There is so much you will learn just at your first acquisition, just going through all the steps. This is a lot to learn. So I would just say, take your time. When you're looking at the deals, and initially you may not have a lot of capital, you may be looking at turnaround deals, value add deals, because they are maybe just easier for you to acquire. I would say be aware of the markets, especially if it's a smaller market.
That's a great point. Yeah.
This will be, and there is a big turnaround projects coming up, like infill or rehab. Be aware of your vendor pool.
Yeah.
Because you may plan it all great on paper, but unless you know you have a team in place who will perform all your projects, it may not pan out.
Yeah.
And if you don't pan out and you have some tough financing on it, like a bridge or something, this is it.
Yeah, you can get wiped out. Yeah,
you could be really caught in.
Well, I think that's a great point, and I think you and Pablo were talking about that yesterday. Smaller markets are often very hard to find vendors. The guys to actually pound the nails and fix the homes up, and so people go, oh wow, I got all these empty homes, I could fix them up and sell them. Mm-hmm. But one of the biggest problems in the smaller markets is there's nobody to do it. So Where do you get these people to come and fix these homes? And if you've performed it out that in your first year you're going to have X number of homes fixed up and sold
online, and
there's nobody to do the work, you could be in for a really big surprise.
Absolutely.
So, and I think we also pointed on something too. Be careful with the debt. Debt is really good, and it leverages your cash flow, or leverages your investment, but it can also be what takes you down if you don't time it right and you don't have the right debt structure in place. So short-term loans, I've heard several people talking about getting hard money loans on mobile home parks.
Yes.
That's risky. Like single-family homes, okay, you're going to buy the home, you're going to rehab it and flip it. I understand that, but when you're buying something that is a pretty heavy lift and then getting short-term high-interest debt out with a short wick on it, that thing can explode pretty easily if you miss your target. So
absolutely,
I think your point about small markets and being careful on what you even infill.
Yeah,
infill. People
huge.
are talking about bringing in X number of homes per year. At this point, in beginning of 2022, we really don't know how quickly we can get new homes, right?
Yes.
And manufacturers are.
No, absolutely. That is why I'm also just bringing this point again, partnerships. 400 units last year.
Yeah.
We closed on a portfolio. It's only and solely because we had the right partner in place to do this infill.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have done it otherwise. And this specific partner for this specific deal was perfect because he had his hands on 100 homes that he could just pull right in.
Yeah.
Makes sense all day long.
Strategic partner with the capacity to do it, experience of doing it, yep.
So let me just, Mario, make another point I think that is important. be flexible with partnerships. Network and get to know people. It doesn't mean that you have to do all the deals either by yourself or with just one partner. Be open, put yourself out there and see if there are so many great folks you can partner up with.
Yeah.
So be open to those strategic partnerships and hone your skills and see how can you do the deal versus how you cannot do the deal. There is always someone out there who can be a perfect partner, who knows what you don't know, who has exactly the skill set you don't have, or has the resources that you don't have.
Yeah, great point. And just to kind of dive a little bit deeper, you guys took down a property that had a lot of vacant lots, and you partnered with another operator that had access to a lot of new homes, and they were able to fill those lots based on their track record, be able to fill those lots very rapidly and in a predictable way. So you basically teamed up with them, and you guys each had different roles, but their focus was what they were really good at, and that's infill, lease up, and
that's
so
right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. So let's talk a little bit about operations. What is one thing in the operations side that you would tell a newer investor that they should really get honed in on or get good at early on to avoid maybe problems later? So, and it doesn't have to be anything real big, but just even some, as you know, a lot of the little nuances, being organized in a certain area or having something set up right, can make a world of difference to make their operations run better.
Sure. Well, Mario, I think that for me, always people are the key, the answer to everything. So I would say, and I'm sure we had a conversation yesterday, staff is, you will wait for the right staff. You will wait for the right people. You will take your, and you will want to keep them forever. And the key to the successful operations is hiring right and onboarding people and training them right. So for that specific reason, and I know that, well, I will speak from my experience, not always I had the opportunity of hiring staff when I was there, like never really. I had an opportunity to do that. So I would interview people on Zoom, I would just do their background check and all that, and I think the key was also to onboarding them properly and putting the systems and processes over time. It doesn't happen maybe on your first deal, and
it takes time.
That is why documenting, and we do video tutorials on
you do a lot of the video tutorials.
That's right. So figure out a way to record all the bigger processes, get them on video, get the cheat sheets, get the spreadsheets and whatever else forms that will support our staff. Got this organized, put this on a hub, we call it a hub, where all the videos are stored. So it's on the website, but it's only accessible to our staff members, so they can go and they can watch, for example, a video. How do you do lease signing? How do you get bids from contractors? How do you do even a drive-through? How do you prepare for spring cleanup?
Step by step.
Step by step. And there are forms attached to those videos, so it makes this easier, and they don't have to be calling me all the time. They can just go search for that video, rewatch the video, and that provides them, as you may not be on site with them, maybe states away like I am.
Your properties are all over the place.
Exactly. So it's something that will help them and support them, and I think proper hiring and onboarding, that is the most important things that you can do. One more thing is probably just figuring out a way how you will communicate with your staff, so they always know that you're there for them, and that is why we do a number of video calls. I just always want them to be able to call me and see me and know that I'm there. If they have any questions, be present. If I cannot be physically, so I know that I will call them on video, they see me, and so I think it's maybe just a level of comfort. Maybe just for me personally, I do like to see them and
that's
them
good,
see me.
because I think what people forget is that just, if you're buying things out of town, then it's important that you're in front of them constantly so they don't feel like they're out on an island, right? You broke down a bunch of good things there. Let's just touch on a couple of them. You said make sure that you're bringing in good people and fight to keep them, and really make sure that your interviewing and hiring process is on point, because if you hire bad people, then you got to replace them. And so be patient, find the right people, go through the process, and then also your training aspect and your systems are documented. They're in video format, and so when people have questions, they can go back and everybody's doing things the same way, right? So you've got consistency in the organization, and you've also got tools like Zoom and other things where you're having regular meetings with them, so they feel like you're there, you're doing face-to-face stuff. You get on the ground whenever you can, but when you can't, you're getting on Zoom with them. You're getting video at least, so that they feel like they're meeting with you regularly. So it's all really good points. Hey guys, drop in the comments below your biggest challenge with mobile home park investing so we can answer those questions for you in the comments. One thing that I think is pretty cool that you can relate to a lot of people on is, you had a pretty awesome corporate job up until recently, and you still were able to build this portfolio with a full-time job. So full-time business, full-time job at the same time. Can you just quickly, maybe give people either some tips or maybe some encouragement if they do have that full-time job but they're trying to transition, maybe some things that they could do or think about to help them get through that to transition.
Yeah, Mario, that's a great point. How do you do this? How do you work yourself to that point if this is your goal? So of course, for many people, it's not the goal. They just like to have to offset their income, right? Taxes with the depreciation from the properties. So that could be a great vehicle of doing that. So they have their W-2s and they offset their taxes with real estate, mobile home parks. Awesome, great plan. If anyone who is looking to transition, really both audiences, this is why the tribe. This is why this is a community for busy professionals where we're focused on partnerships and efficient business practices and the tools. This is exactly why. And I think probably one of the most important things is to have a support system around you, knowing that it is possible. However, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to, it's not a race. So take your time and work yourself into it, and you will do it when the timing is right, when you feel it's right, or if you get laid off.
And that's what happened to you, but it was very convenient, right?
It was just like a necessary push because, okay, so 900 units bought, sold, you better be able to fly at this point, so out of the nest.
So they pretty much pushed you out,
of the nest.
And it was a blessing in disguise. It definitely allowed you to, well, like you said, get pushed out of the nest. So I think that's great, because a lot of times people are in a rush. They're trying to get out of their current job, and we've talked a lot about partnerships, so I won't go too much more into that, but I think having good strategic partners to help you handle some of the time-consuming aspects of the business that maybe somebody doesn't have time for, all great stuff. All right, as we wrap up here, one quick tip, maybe something that a new mobile home park investor should do or think about getting into their first mobile home park investment.
Even with purchasing a 50-space mobile home park, it can be truly life-changing.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be 100, 200 units. So take your time to find a great deal. I think we're all coming back to that.
Hitting that home, find good deals,
it's just
don't buy
true,
bad deals.
Because and I think we break it down in a course and we talk about it, just a very simple example. 50-space mobile home park at 300 lot rent, minus 45% expense ratio, it's 100,000 net operating income a year.
Yeah.
Even with the half of it being a debt service, it's still $50,000 net.
It's life-changing for most people. That
Yes.
replaces people's jobs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm just recommending, highly suggesting, begging that you wait for that really good deal to make it really make a difference for your life, for your family's life. Don't rush into something that just looks like it's maybe at some point it will work out.
Don't force it.
Don't force it, exactly. Just be patient with it and just do great deals.
So that's a great point. Do good deals, focus on making sure that they're going to be profitable and not just doing any deal. And yeah, I love it. Ekaterina, thank you so much for doing this. I think this was very valuable for our viewers, and I think, you know, people need to just recognize that we all come from different backgrounds to get into the industry, and you've done a phenomenal job, so thanks again for being on here. If you want to get a hold of Ekaterina, how can they get a hold of you? Where can they find you?
Well, mhptribe.com.
Yep.
Yeah, and Facebook group MHP Tribe. So come join us on Monday calls, 7:30 Eastern, every single Monday. We'll be happy to have you.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you.